All right. Okay. This is Nikki Rowland, Chair of HSAB. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Lucy.
Yes.
Angus.
Here.
And there is no staff and no anticipated speakers. This open meeting of HSAB is being conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021. For this meeting, HSAB is convening by video conference via Zoom app as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join in. Participants may find information on the conduct of this meeting at that location. Please note this meeting is being recorded. Each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. So I'm going to ask Lucy to make the motions again.
Yeah. Motion.
Motion to adopt the agenda by Lucy. Angus seconded. All those in favor, Lucy and Angus?
Aye.
That was a yes, Angus, I take it. And approval of the minutes from August 8th and August 9th. Lucy?
Motion, yes.
Angus? And all those in favor, Lucy and
Aye.
Angus?
Aye.
Thank you, and I'm an aye also. So moving on to the agenda. We can go ahead and do Julie's Ben gonna come on, or is it just you?
I don't know if he was planning on joining, and I'm having a hard time locating my drawings. Are you gonna want me to share my screen, or do you have them to share?
We've got him here.
Okay, great. You know, he did the original submittal, but it was before we had picked a greenhouse supplier. And so, and we have to adhere because of Concom to that shape. And the southern gable has to get all the sun. And the doors have to be facing the garage, but to keep the height down, the eaves won't allow for the doors at the height. So they had to add that little gable facing the garage to accommodate the doors. So the greenhouse is all approved except for the little gable that has to accommodate the doors that faces interior to the garage.
Right.
Maybe you want to see that. Ben, I think, was like a little like, just like you didn't order what I had approved. And he was like, now it's your hot potato. So.
Right. That's fine. Let me see if I can find which one is yours. I think, oh no, you're over here. Hang on one second.
Sure, no problem. We're the only ones here, I guess. So
You are. Share screen.
and of course the greenhouse is like in production and I have it on hold in Europe and the lady's like, so I'm like, you gotta hold, I gotta make sure I can do this.
I'll get there in a second. I'm looking for the right screen to share, which I closed, so I've got to go back to my email. Hang on one second.
No worries.
All right.
Julie, I'd love to see the project when it's done.
I know, I can't wait. It's really coming along in the, you know, gardening part. I'm starting to grow all the plants and think about color and
Yeah.
it's really fun.
Yeah. I mean, I was in the house before and it was, you know.
The house, I mean, Penn is so talented. I mean, she's
Oh,
got
yeah.
everyone oohing and awing in there. So. Client is appearing to stay committed, so it's pretty amazing.
Not many of them.
Mm-mm. No, she's really into it looking old and funky.
It's great that there's
So-
some people out there now.
Right, I know.
I'm having a hard time pulling this up.
I wish I could save you. Let me see if I can find it.
It shouldn't be that hard.
No,
I couldn't download it.
You know, Kadeem sent me another file, and I think he sent everybody the file. Angus, did you get it?
I believe I did. I'm looking for it now.
So this is not it. This is the one that was on the, that's not what we want.
Here, I think I've got it.
Yeah, it's the revision to the greenhouse.
I've got it if you want me to share.
Let me try this one more. Does that look okay?
I'm not seeing it quite yet, but it
It's a
might be.
black screen. Oh, there it is. Yeah, you've got it now.
Okay, got it. Okay, here is,
So here's the plan. Oh, this is the best way to look at it. So you see how I want the doors to interact with this side of the garage because I'm designing it so a table can slide out of there and be in between the two buildings.
mhm.
And so the door kind of has to face in, and I also don't want it facing towards the wetland because I'm not allowed to do anything over there. And I think facing towards Wesco, it's lost bench space inside because I'm actually going to use it for growing. So to have the door facing that way gets me the longest bench on the south side.
Okay, so the north is the one side, is this facing Westchester basically, but you can't
But-
really see this from Westchester, can you?
No, it's way down the slope. It's actually on Wesco.
So which is the elevation that faces Wesco? Because you,
The
We'll see it a little-
west elevation faces, no, wait, sorry.
probably the east.
Yeah, the east. Yeah,
Okay.
that's where we'll face Wesco, the east.
Yeah.
And
So
remember,
that
the
top-
plan has tons of screening in the landscape plan.
So that top elevation, east elevation, that's how it is. So the greenhouse faces the garage.
Correct.
And where is it in relation, like in the floor plan? Is it forward of it or?
No, it's
overlapping
in
it?
line.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think I see in the lower picture.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
because
right
see,
there.
the foundation's existing, which is why we're allowed to do it, because we're building on the existing foundation.
Gotcha.
On this floor
I don't have a
plan.
concern with that.
I don't either. I think it's fine.
Yeah, I don't really have any concerns myself. So I think we can leave it at that.
Okay, and you know, it is adding intricacy to it, but I don't think it's noticeable, so. And I'd like to be able to get inside it.
Well, it's appropriate. It's making it a little bit more complicated, but it's form following function here.
Mhm.
The color, Julie, it said bronze, maybe? It's
It's the bronze,
basically
yeah.
dark brown.
Exactly.
No, that's pretty.
Yeah.
The only concern I had before was if the greenhouse was lit up too much at night because we're trying to do the dark sky stuff. On
Yeah, I
island.
don't think that they have any like plants that they're gonna be growing that are night plants. So it'll just have that one swinging light that when you go in at night, you would turn on one light, but it wouldn't be left on for growing or anything.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And it's not set up as like an entertainment space or anything. I
No.
presume. For a working greenhouse.
It's a working greenhouse. I mean, I have a cool table that's gonna go, it's like you're supposed to be able to have tea in there in the winter, kind of.
Mhm.
We just don't
Okay.
want like grow lights all night long because of pot.
Right.
I think if this guy was gonna grow
Okay.
pot, it would be in a bigger, more controlled environment.
Right. Let's hope. All right, I think we're good with that. Thanks, Julie.
All right, well, good luck. Hi, Brooke.
Hey, how's it going, Jules?
Good, nice to see you.
You too.
Thanks for fielding me early.
Yes, I guess.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, stop screen sharing.
At under 22 Easton.
Everything working?
Yeah.
And, all right, so next on the agenda, we have, good thing Brooke is back, lot 27B Birdsong.
Oh, Birdsong. So we're not doing Easton Street?
You know, when you look at the printed agenda, the actual official agenda, it's in a different order
Oh,
than
okay.
the view list. So I'm arranging it on the actual agenda,
Okay,
not the view list.
thank you.
So,
So this is actually not my application. This is Luke's.
what?
Well,
This-
there's.
This
Oh,
is yours.
we're on, okay, so, sorry, I opened the wrong one.
Yeah, there's another one up there, right up across from this, I guess.
Yeah,
Okay. So this is you.
yes, this is me. So the HTC concerns were, to make the door less ornate, to, create a telescoping massing and, to move some of the windows away from, and this is on the west elevation, to shift the window away from the corner board. The other concerns were meeting rail concerns on the south elevation, and even though you can't see it, and on the north elevation, even though you really won't be able to see that either. If you look at the site plan, those two blue lines, those are the cone of visibility.
Okay. So you're saying that 4 light windows going to be behind the corner.
It's going to be behind the corner.
All right. Lucy, Angus, thoughts?
Mickey, could you please scroll down to the beginning of the elevations? Thank you.
There?
Yeah. Are those windows just a little bit shorter in the addition on the second floor, Brooke?
Um,
Or are they the same size?
They are a little shorter. They're 4 inches shorter.
Yeah.
It's stepped back. I think more than. I mean, it looks flush, but if you're looking at the floor plan, it's stepped back about 4 feet. So it doesn't read on the same plane.
Yeah, I think the concern is the idea of the additive massing and it dropping lower. But because the fenestration is so similar and the eave height is the same, a flush shed dormer, I'm just not sure how much that really helps in the idea of the dropped massing.
Angus, I was going to suggest, and this is a good time, I think, to bring this up. That big flush dormer, the triple windows, I would much prefer to see that as 2 small dormers with broken up, and I think that would probably help what you're talking about, Angus.
Yeah, where maybe there's 1 window in each or something, so that the cheek pulls a little bit further away from the front main mass.
Yeah, and there's room to do that. Maybe the red has to switch to the other side, but I think you could probably.
Yeah, I think I could make that work.
Okay.
If the HTC agrees with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think more eave line that's dropped is going to make that read more as additive massing rather than a continuation.
Right.
I agree.
And thank you for being back more than 6 or 8 inches.
You mean the side there?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else, Angus?
Oh, could you please scroll down?
South, you probably really won't see. I think I can agree with that. East, and then there's north.
East is not visible either.
Yeah.
No, I really don't have an issue with anything else.
Yeah. Lucy?
Well, I have a question, not necessarily that applies to this application, is that the little fencing at the front door. Is the treatment of that or the color of that ever indicated on an application?
It's part of the trim
It's
color,
considered part of
so
the
whatever
trim?
the trim is whatever the color is. It's kind of like, you know, if you, around our neighborhood, obviously if the trim is white, the balusters and posts are always white.
Okay, I just didn't want to I wanted to make sure that someone didn't get that great idea as on India Street to do black.
Oh, no, it's gonna be hot pink.
I'll remember to refer you on to a new client.
Okay.
Anything else, Lucy?
No, I'm fine with it.
And I also wanted to note that the building is not as long as it was, or that secondary mass is lower too. So
Mhm.
Oh, one last thing about the front door
hmm,
is that maybe the side lights weren't as appropriate as a single door with the transom above. But this is really where the typical Nantucket house, you know, just has a little bit of detail in the doorway. So yeah, thanks for the close up. Yeah, I couldn't really tell because it wants something, you know, not necessarily pilasters, but
right.
what was the, Mickey, could you scroll over to the old proposal with the side lights? I just wanted to look what that surround was without the side lights.
It was a lot.
So this door surround is based on a door on the corner of Winter and Liberty, and the new door surround is based on a house that very, very close to me.
Is it a typical Nantucket?
Yeah, that is 17 Liberty right there.
You know, the thing that to me feels a little odd is sort of the picture framing of the casings rather than sort of a kind of a little bit more of a column or pilaster look.
Mhm.
But I don't know, I'm not too concerned about it.
Yeah, and you know, if you go around to a lot of these neighborhoods, not everything is federal, not everything is Doric, not everything is standard. And this is 17 Liberty is an example.
What
I
style
like
building is it?
Hmm?
What style building is 17 Liberty?
17 Liberty, it's just a Quaker, it's just like this,
Okay,
identical.
all right. Is that a concern, Angus?
No, I wanted there to be some detail because there always is.
Right, definitely. So the only thing I'll add, which I did last time, I'm not sure if it got recorded, is that to me, I still feel that gable forward addition to the right is a little awkward. And I don't know what you else would do with, you know, differently there, but to me, it feels weird to put that forward of the main mass, or is it? Yeah, it is. So just worth mentioning.
Yeah, it is back and away from the street, and there's going to be a little garage next to it that will help hide the fact of that projection. But it's only the
Yeah.
lower mass that's forward of it. The actual upper mass is behind the main mass by about 2 feet.
I see that. Yep.
How appropriate would a hip
Okay.
be there?
Not at all.
I gotta agree with that. Yeah. I don't have anything to offer except a shed, but that's not gonna work either. So, all right. Anything else on this one? Seeing nothing. Okay, how about the studio?
Yeah, so the only concern there was that they didn't like the diamond lights, which whatever. I like them. I still like them. but that's what I did. And I also added strap hinges because that was something that you guys brought up the last time.
Mhm.
And I think it does help.
Yeah, I agree with you, Brooke. I think the diamonds are better than the squares, or maybe nothing at all.
Hmm.
The squares to me look kind of odd.
Yeah.
Same here. I prefer the diamond, don't like the square. If I had to choose between, I would go with diamond or nothing. But unless the light gets a little horizontal, but then it starts to look like a different kind of door than what you've got.
Mhm.
Okay, and those doors are gonna be black?
It was the slab, it's gonna be Quaker gray.
Okay,
Okay, because I don't think it says that on the application.
Right, it says it on on the window and door schedule right below. If you scroll
Okay.
down and zoom in, there's a cloud around the door
Yeah.
description.
And I totally agree with about the diamond windows.
yeah, I think we're all in agreement on that one.
Great.
Those are,
It was emphatical. They couldn't believe it.
unanimous.
It was unanimous.
Okay, we're good on that one too. Moving on to 2224 Easton. And no attendance from the applicant.
Did you already look at Lowell Spa?
Who?
The
Oh, Lowell. No, we haven't. That's after this on the other agenda, on the posted agenda.
All right.
And there's nobody there for it anyway. No, not even anyone from the neighborhood. All right, so main house. Bunch of perspectives.
So which are we reviewing now on this?
The main house.
Okay, the main house.
This faces the road, which you won't see very much of, maybe a little glimpse of the front right here, the front door.
Because the view of the connector in the middle of the house is obstructed by other structures or something?
Well, here it is. Here's Easton over on the side, right? And then you're looking
Oh,
through
yeah.
this narrow corridor between the gym or whatever this studio building is and the garage also to see just the front main mass, elevated mass.
Mhm.
So that's what you see. I don't have any issue with that. And then go ahead,
I
Lucy.
was a little bit confused about on these applications where all the hardscaping went. And I forgot to look at it, but you've got the fence going into the property. And then you have all these levels stepping up. So my question really is, because you've got all this hardscaping in the pool and everything elevated so much that the perspective or what you see from the street is not going to be what we usually expect. I don't know what the height of those gates are. I'm having a hard time downloading it on my little iPad. But if the gate, let's say it's a picket, let's say if it's 30 inches and you've got all this stuff that's 4 or 5 steps up. I mean, it's, I guess what I'm saying is that we ought to keep that in mind when we're looking at all of this stuff, how it's going to be perceived from the street.
It's elevated. It's like, you know, the floor is, I think, probably like 5 feet out of the ground. Um,
Yeah, 5'8".
5'8" above, well, and the grade is 0, and that's below, or the datum is below grade. So it's, yeah, I think it's probably about 5 feet or so to the first floor level.
But everything else is gonna be raised up too.
Oh, yeah. It's a tall building. I kind of, that's one of my comments, is this is 32 feet, 10 inches. Well, is that above grade, or where is that the elevation?
What's elevation at grade?
Well, I guess essentially 0. Average grade is 0. So yeah, the main house roof right up here is 32 feet 10 to the top of the ridge here. That's pretty tall. They have a 9-foot ceiling. So they could reduce that. They could lower the pitch, although I don't really like shallow pitches, but you know, if height was an issue, they could lower the pitch. But they could definitely reduce the ceiling height from 9 feet down to 8, 8.5. 6 inches could make a difference.
They could certainly put some dormers on. It doesn't have to be a 2-story mass.
And it doesn't have to be 2-story, but I have to say, I like the fact that there is some hierarchy here,
Mhm.
and it's a big building. And you know, if you make this 1.5 stories, then you're gonna have to make the rest of it even lower. So I don't know. I got a feeling eventually Hulbert Avenue, or even, I mean, Easton Street is all gonna jump up several feet, and it won't stick out as much as it does initially.
Right. Well, I think that the raised pool area kind of helps a little bit in terms of, at least, you know, obviously you don't see it, but even looking through, I think it probably helps a little bit to make that forward facing part of the structure feel a little less tall. I think it'll mostly seem tall from the water. I think
Yeah.
that with the other buildings there, and some of that hardscaping, I don't think it's going to seem as tall.
Yeah, and they've got a lot of planting around supposedly. You know, height in the flood zone is the tough one.
I
So
was just looking at the outdoor shower, and it's, I mean, you don't want to end up with a 10 or 15 foot high looking shower, you know? Normally we would have that on the ground.
true.
And I understand, you know, wanting to be able to get to it from floor level or ground level. I mean, from the floor level. But, you know, with the skirting being vertical boarding and the shower being vertical boarding, I just don't know how you get around that.
No, we've asked other applicants to put the showers at grade pretty consistently, and I think that this is a good example of that too. It's on an elevated deck. You don't normally do that with an outdoor shower.
Yeah.
That's what's looking awkward about it.
Well, the HTC also had asked for that on another application recently at, I think it was at Children's Beach. The one that was on the corner of next to the White Elephant. I thought there
Yeah.
was a raised
Okay.
outdoor shower there, but I know that they've asked for it as well. So
Okay.
I wish we were seeing the previously submitted, because this is looking more like a house, a big house, but a house rather than some commercial project.
well, they're in the upper left-hand corner. That was the prior.
Is this the prior?
Yeah, that's the prior. It's all horizontal board.
Yeah, you're right.
So if you zoom in on that, that'll show you.
Yep.
Which I actually like.
You like the horizontal boards?
No, I like the massing better than that 2-story mass.
Wait a minute. Better than what?
If you zoom out, you'll see that we are now looking at Oh, no, sorry, that was wrong elevation.
They didn't change the massing at all. Just the clouded areas, actually. So I'm going to note the shower should be at grade. This elevation still bothers me a lot. My comment there is the east elevation is still a concern. The right-hand extension should be lower and feel more subordinate. It's, as proposed, it looks like a slightly stepped down repetition of the left side. More variation in appearance and height is needed. And I think this is the piece I'm referring to. This should be stepped down further. It's identical to the one to the left of it. And it's massing.
But it looks like the roof in relation to the meeting rails of the windows is actually even higher than the main or higher mast. Is that?
Yeah, it's different.
I
Yeah,
think
the
there would be
roof-
an opportunity to bring down the height by lowering that eave
Yeah,
along with the roof, the overall roof line.
yeah. But you're talking about inches, which would help, but I'm talking about, just changing something in a bigger way because it's too repetitive. It's too much of the same thing, one right behind the other.
Well, no, one has two windows in the middle with triples on the sides versus the triple in the middle with the doubles on the side.
So they really broke it up a lot. That's what you're saying. Yeah, it's not enough for me.
I agree. That should be stepped down more.
Yeah,
How visible is that?
it's questionable, but it's still from an angle, I think, this is a really visible lot.
Mhm.
And I just think that, here's the neighbor's building right there. You're going to look through from the water and you're going to see this boom, boom right next to each other. This building will disguise it a little bit, and it's also going to stick out well above it. So,
Is there a perspective that shows basically from the street of that east elevation?
It's
This
almost
is
too
it on the
bad that
perspective.
these projects like this aren't required to put up story poles. I mean, it'd be interesting to see what the height would be from Easton Street and the harbor.
There would be. We can always request it. It's a little late in the project to do that, but we can request it.
No, I'm saying in the future.
Yep. I may add that to my height comment. This height pole would be useful. All right, so moving on to the west elevation, which is where? Here. So, two-story building. This chimney is still really not appropriate. It's just stuck on the outside in a really awkward way. It's very visible from the water. I can find the south. Probably not it. There it is. Here's the chimney right here to the side. Do you see this over here? And it's just right on the side of the screen porch, just stuck on this. It's not even connected to the higher elevation. It's spaced a few feet away from the two-story section, so it's just kind of dangling there in space.
The chimney needs
So
to be
that's-
integrated.
It needs to, exactly, those are my words. It needs to be integrated into the architecture better. So it's kind of all I have. Anybody else have any comments on this one?
Well, I agree with you about the chimney, and I don't like the detail at the top either.
Yeah.
And I assume that the application is indicating that the chimney would be exposed brick.
Yeah. brick.
I'm saying that because I noticed a house on on Pleasant Street, one or two door, maybe 3 doors up from Main, that they painted the chimney charcoal gray.
Oh. Okay, this I think is probably natural brick. All right.
So what is the difference in the chimney of previous and new? Because they both say brick chimney.
I know, and he's clouding it as if there are changes. So I'll scroll in on this one. To me, it doesn't look, maybe a really narrower base, see this big long slope here. And then when you go back to the other,
But the tops are clouded and the other elevations, and I don't see any change or any notes of a change.
you talking about this clouding up here?
Yeah, and
Or-
look in the other pictures of the other elevations, the clouding.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know what's changed.
Oh, it looks like the chimney is narrower, for sure. The one that we can see.
That might be.
I'm
Oh.
thinking of the north elevation.
North, facing the street. That's the street, north.
So there's the previous, right?
Yeah,
And then look at the proposed. I don't see a difference.
I don't see any difference either. I don't get it.
Why don't they
Yeah.
just forget about chimneys and put in gas fireplaces?
Well, someday they will. I think it's good to have a chimney here and there. All right, anything else on the main dwelling? They've made a bunch of changes, which I think are positive, that they changed the railing facing the water, which is maybe here. They added the railing at the screened porch, whereas before the panes went, or the screens went all the way down to the floor, which bothered me. So they improved that. I don't know what else they did. Change these doors from 4 light to 6 light. It's a little bit of an improvement. And the railings, were they crossbuck before? Well, they weren't any railings before. So anyway, I think generally it's gotten better. I'm not sure I love it, but it's gotten better. Anything else here? Let's go on to the guest house. Okay, guest house. It's building here. So it's first thing you're gonna see. In fact, you won't see much of. You see this a whole lot. See the main house from Easton Street, and it's kind of a tall, boxy thing.
Is that the gym pavilion?
This is what he's calling the guest house, which is, as I showed over here. See it?
Yeah, I was just looking on the view pack and I don't see guest.
I think it's the gym.
I know it's a guest house. I think what happened is that they were switched before. I think that the gym pavilion abutted the pool, and now the guest house abuts the pool.
The reference names in the view pack are all different than what you're looking at on these drawings. He's sort of changed the names, but the view pack still refers to them as even garage A and B and stuff like that. So, for east and west. But this is the building we're looking at right now. It's between the house and the road. And I'm calling it the guest house because that's what he called it.
Seems like an innocuous little structure. Obviously, it lacks a front door, which would be nice to have. And
Hmm.
maybe a porch facing the street, but
Point.
When did
Or how about
27
visible?
feet high become innocuous?
I know. 32,
You mean the simplicity of the massing?
sure, man.
So my comment about the massing was the roof of this long section, you know, this is the floor plan. Second floor, this is just a loft and a mechanical room for this big, tall, and there's only a tiny window at the end. So it seems like this is a really high eave line just to create a loft. So my comment there was that they could the roof of the long east facing wing could be broken up, stepping the roof down to a one-story section. They could even break it halfway through, put one story out at the end. But it just seems like a long, tall thing that they're not really using. So that was my comment. But I'm adding the comment that Brooke, you just mentioned about the front door, that there should be a visible front door from Easton. I don't care if it's on the front or maybe the gable end or the end facing the driveway.
Yeah,
the
and
side, but
maybe a
just
little
something-
maybe a little porch area too.
Yeah, that would go with the door.
Yeah.
Floor plan, and they've just got a living room here. They could put a door right here. Whether they use it or not. Any other thoughts on this one?
What's the treatment of the pergola?
The pergola. What pergola? Is there a pergola?
Well, on the application, it says pergola.
I don't see one anymore. That might have changed.
I do agree with you, Mickey. The main body of this structure is at the lower height, but not significantly lower. It's kind of like taking the smallest footprint and making that the highest part.
Yeah,
And generally, it would go the other way around.
yeah.
But if it's going to go this route, dropping that a few feet more to the head height of the windows or closer to it, I think would make the proportions work better. That way, the larger mass is reduced.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a good point. It's pretty long. It's just a long, awkward section on this building, I think. Anybody else? All right.
Yeah, I think that wing to the left it's long. I mean,
Yeah.
and I think if he did put a covered porch that could wrap, that would help. And certainly shortening it by about 2 to 4 feet would help too.
Yeah, what is in that room?
It just looks like an appendage.
It is. I think stepping the roof would be helpful. Shortening it certainly would. They probably
Yeah.
won't want to do that, but they
Yeah, one
could.
or the other, or both.
Yeah. All right. Next is the garage. And that is this building up right close to the street.
Is this the west garage or the east garage?
You know, I don't even know. It's the only garage at the moment because this other building is the studio. So I'm calling it the garage on the notes. So this I felt it's just a big, plain, boxy building. They could have done a little more with. But it could be some other roof line. I basically said, this is a large building placed prominently at the entrance to the site. With a little variation in the roof lines, it could easily be redesigned into a lower, more attractive building. The siting of this building might be improved by shifting it to the east side. I'll show you what I mean here. This would mitigate the height of the guest house by placing it right in front of it, and would open up the western side of the site over here, allowing better visibility of the front facade of the main dwelling. So when you look at the site plan, I guess what I'm suggesting is they take the garage and just flip it down here. It'll, block a little bit of the view of the guest house, and it'll open up this whole corner of the yard. You'll get a better view of the front facade, I think, which I think is what we were trying to do at the very beginning, and they kind of agreed to that. So I don't know what you think about that suggestion, but. And here's the elevation. So it's just this big boxy 2-bay garage. I think they could do a little better.
Yeah, they could maybe do a broken back on that little wart.
Exactly. I would even maybe flip the ridge and have a low eave over the doors, and then go the broken back toward the back of the garage.
Right, change the orientation that way.
Yep.
How would that be?
That would
for
mean a
the height
gable
facing the
facing
road?
the street though, which I think I'd rather see roof.
Yeah, but it'd be a lot lower. And I like broken backs. I think that would look okay facing the street. And it'd be a
With the
lot
gable?
lower than this.
With the
Yeah.
gable facing the street?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be considerably lower. The ridge would probably end up being roughly around here,
Mm-hmm.
come down, and then break down long slope to the back. Actually, this is this little addition thing. So it'd be considerably lower. Throw that in there.
Yeah. What is the height right now? It's
19.8.
19.
19.8.
Yeah.
Because this doesn't have to accommodate any wet or flood zone in theory.
No.
So yeah, I think it could be lower in height by a couple of feet.
Okay, I do too. And the rest is pretty sad. I don't mind the doors. They're showing them as swinging doors. That's fine. Anything else?
Yeah. I don't understand the need for that barn door on the side. And I have concerns about all these doors being black.
Yeah.
There are an awful lot of doors. It's a lot of black.
Yeah.
I think the proportions are pretty decent. Looking at that gable end of where the doors are, but the scale is huge. It's the doors are 8'9" high, I think,
Really?
9 feet wide. I think by having an eave that comes down close to that is certainly going to give plenty of height for anything going in there, and will reduce the mass that close up to the street. And if the gable did switch, that shed could even be a little bit higher, running back into the gable. That would sort of bring down the height some.
Yes, you're right. The doors, Angus, where did you see the height of the door?
The very top. (8'6".
Does it say
The height
that
of the door.
somewhere? Am I missing this? Where? Where are you reading that?
Up at the very top, right after the application.
Top of the application. Oh, gotcha. Here we go. Those are really high. I mean, it's most standard garage doors 7 feet high.
7
This is
feet.
18 inches above that. Yeah. I think we should comment on this size of this door. That's out of proportionally high, and it's throwing off the scale of the building. It does, if those were more of a normal size door, the building would look huge,
It is.
and it is huge. Yeah, I got a comment about that door size. Good.
That's what I was saying. The proportions look okay, but it's only because the doors are huge.
Okay. We'll get to do this later. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, so now we have what I'm calling the studio, which is this building here. And that's actually what he's calling the studio. And I don't know which one it is, garage, east or west or whatever, but it's now called the studio. Oh, that was interesting. Let me see this. See the garage here
Yep.
in perspective? This, I think, makes it look like a pretty big building. Anyway. Studio. Fairly simple, not too big. My only comments was this triple mullion should be broken up in this tiny 4-light windows in an odd place.
And that's really the only visible elevation,
Correct, yep,
and that faces the street.
yep,
Just remove the middle window.
yeah.
I don't mind the little 4-light just hanging out there. Those little quirks don't bother me.
Yeah, I agree with you, Brooke.
Really?
I'll go with the others.
Yeah, fine. I'll erase it. Okay, so it's just the triple gang. Break it up.
Yeah, maybe one could go on. Yeah.
I don't care how they do it. I don't even care if there's 3 windows, as long as they're broken up a little bit. 2 would be better.
Prefer to.
Yeah,
Part of what makes that little window cool is that it's not really crowded by the, between the corner board and the triple.
yeah. Fine. All right, I think we're done with this guy. Oh, how about the landscaping, hardscape?
Yeah, I have quite a few questions on that. Pool and hardscaping.
Yes.
Yeah. First of all, what we brought up beforehand, the apron, she
Mhm.
has large pieces of granite or something like that. That area, it's either Belgian block or brick. I think that doing those large pieces of granite is inappropriate for the neighborhood.
Yep.
They have down gravel driveway. People okay with that? Most of that shell down there.
I don't know.
That's an awful lot of gray down there. With gravel.
It is. Presumably it's natural pea stone, not gray
Yeah. well,
crushed stuff.
I think it's a mix down there. There's a fair amount of white shell and stone.
I think I'd rather see shell, but I'm not sure stone is horrible.
I agree with you about the apron.
Yeah, that's totally wrong for that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would just stand out a little too much.
It would.
Okay,
Which is
and
probably what they're trying to do.
stand out, yep.
Yeah.
maybe I missed it, but I don't see where any of the AC units are located for any of these buildings.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
Or the pool equipment. Not to mention outdoor lighting.
Yeah,
And then if you notice, if you look at the plot plan, you come in of apron, and then in front of, between the parking and the guest house, you have this, are those like some weird raised planters? See those rectangular things?
hmm,
I think we need an explanation as to what those are.
yeah, that's a good comment.
And then also, you have these long rectangular areas in a path. What is that? You see what I mean?
Yeah,
These
that-
things, they probably, stones or boardwalk. No. This is wooden boardwalk up top here.
I guess is it's some sort of flagstone or something.
Well, it's not indicated.
Right.
And also, the lounge deck, the material for that is not indicated.
Here, the entertainment deck or the,
There,
Below
well,
that, the lounge deck.
the lounge
Right.
deck. There.
It's interesting,
Yeah,
the things that would naturally be wood deck are kind of blank. So I wonder if it's,
Yeah, well, don't
Well-
forget that this is the same designer that had the indoor-outdoor carpeting on
Yeah,
Sand Street.
hang on though. I think that is there to indicate an elevation difference. The
Well, we don't
boardwalk-
know.
I know, but that was the intention.
It-
Like that's
it's
the
also-
draftsman's attention.
it's also out, this should be on the drawing for the main house. And maybe they're omitting it here because it's already been covered
Well,
on the
that's
other-
true too.
on the other plans.
Yeah.
It's probably wood. I mean, I have to assume I don't know what these other things are, but I'm sure this is wood lounge deck.
And I also think anything behind the gate or anything forward of the gate should be more typical to Nantucket. So instead of those long stones, we should have something a little less formal. And then whatever happens behind the gate is whatever we can see and not see. And really, it's not really
Mhm.
in our purview, but certainly forward of those gates is. And I agree about the planters. I'd be kind of curious about those, like how high they are, their material. Is there a detail on this page?
Here's the guest house.
They just have a fence detail.
And then they show, I don't know if you can see this, a
Yeah.
couple boxy things in front of the guest house.
Yeah, I mean, is that going to be granite? I mean, that it could be
Right.
granite. It could be black granite. We don't know.
Yes, this says parched granite for the foundation, so who knows what these things are.
Yeah. So I'd be
Go back and
definitely curious about the planners. But I think anything forward of the gates on the street side should just be a little bit more typical
Mhm.
Nantucket. And I think anything
Yep.
behind the gates that you can't see, that's not really for us to say.
so yeah, the detail looks identical to the foundation, which would be parched concrete.
Mhm. Yeah, got a comment on that. And these are just odd. I don't really get these at all. We don't even know if these are flush or raised planters or whatever
Yeah.
they are.
Well, in the elevations they're raised, I think it's just to break up the height between, the new flood elevation height and the existing grade.
Yeah, I think it's helpful, but I think it could be, if it's concrete, I think that I'd rather see it as wood.
Yeah,
Well, my point was that we ought to know what it is that they're
Yes.
proposing.
I agree. Got to be more detailed than that. The only thing I think I would add to this is this is a 4-foot picket fence because they're using it as the pool fence. So this is a 4-foot fence up by the main entrance and all down here by the side, which to me is not normal. You know, picket fences should be 36 inches or lower. And, you know, I don't care how they handle the pool fence, but, you know, I don't think that should be 4 feet tall. That's just too, you know, everything is oversized here, and I don't think the fence needs to be oversized either.
Well, Mickey, that's why I brought it up before we started discussing this whole compound thing, is that you've got this boardwalk and a number of steps up. And so maybe the thinking is that the fence is higher so that to hide that a lot of the elevation. For instance, if someone's standing on that wooden boardwalk, that is at least 3 steps up. And so, you know, there's. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you know, Brooke's point is that once you're beyond the gate, the picket fence, you're not really seeing much of the territory
Right.
inside this well back from the road. And I think that's true. So it's hard to really be too critical of the interior of this courtyard unless it's sticking up high enough to see it. And I'm not sure it is just yet. But, you know, I don't like the fence at 4 feet, which might, if it's 3 feet, then you might actually see over it and see some of this stuff in here. So,
Well, it looks like there's vegetation where the fence is, and it could be the typical, you know, fence that's buried in the vegetation. But I agree.
well, that's what I see.
A type 2 fence shouldn't be any higher than 36 inches. It gets awkward.
Yes. Yep. Good. All right. Anything else on this entire project?
I don't think we did it.
All right, moving on. This is Lowell Place. And still nobody's here to look at this. This is the new plan, and here's the old one. You know, we didn't like the fact this was so close to so much hardscaping right next to the neighbor's fence. So they actually moved it over to the side, to the middle. And what they did is I think they're putting it back now down, like the lawn area here is now at grade, which is 36. So there's no change in grade, whereas before they had the back part of the property up 3 risers. So this was all raised before, but now it's not. So that's probably a good thing.
Seem like improvements.
Yeah.
Well, it says the spa is
I
15
know.
inches high.
Yeah, so here's my question, and I wish that somebody were here to answer, but Brooke, you have probably more experience with this. They're saying 10 by 15 raised spa.
Mhm.
Now,
That
water
means there's a
features,
curb.
that's fine, but it's 10 by 15 area of water.
Yes.
And aren't you still limited to 1,000 gallons or less?
Yeah, it's 10 by 15 is the maximum square footage, and I think 1,000 gallons or less. But if there's stairs in there, I think that occupies some of the gallonage.
Okay, but just 10 by 15, that's 150 square feet. And
Yes.
when you do the math, and I don't have it in front of me, that's less than a foot deep. of water if it's under 1,000 gallons.
Unless
So-
unless there are benches, in which case that shifts that. But yes, I agree. It's a little deceptive.
Yeah, there's no way the math working out to make this 1,000.
Yeah.
They're really,
Yeah, the math definitely doesn't work out.
But
there is-
also, I mean, it's like 3 3/4 inch risers for those steps to go up 1, 2, 3, 4 steps, and you're only going up 15 inches.
well, we don't know how deep it is.
Well, the
We don't-
15 inches is what's visible out of the yard.
Oh, 15 out of the ground.
It's
yeah.
a curb.
Yeah.
But again, we can only talk about what's visible.
Yeah.
This is a zoning and planning issue, and you can bring it to the attention of the building department. But with respect to our purview, can we see it or can't we? And it does not look like we can see it.
What is
But it
that
still
fence
has to
that
be
runs
the zoning.
alongside?
Oh, what is the fence?
Is that a
Yeah.
type 2?
Do
And
they,
it's got an auto cover, so it doesn't,
oh, they don't need a 4-foot fence.
No.
Okay, and then we've mentioned this before. We're assuming that equipment pad is for the spa equipment.
Yeah, that's over here.
Right next to
Before
the
we-
neighbors.
Yeah. Well, there's neighbors everywhere.
all right, so hang on. Swimming pool definition, if you're interested.
Yep.
Containing water more than 24 inches in depth and exceeding 150 square feet of water surface area or exceeding 1,000 gallons. So it's not and. So if it's less than 150 square feet or 150 and less, then it meets, it doesn't meet the definition of pool.
Well, or 1,000 gallons. If,
Mhm.
so that right there can't have, you can't have more than 1,000 gallons, period, right?
Right.
Or it's called a pool. So if this has 1,000 gallons, only 1,000 gallons, that's just forgetting about the steps inside. That's less than a foot of water on 10 by 15.
Right.
It's a
So
pool.
Got that
it's
figured
a
out.
pool.
There
It's
it
so
is.
cool. Yeah.
Anyway, I
So-
appreciate them moving it away from the neighbors to the north.
Yep.
Yeah, the neighbors can take up the definition of it, but
Well, I'm going to comment on it. I'm just asking
Yes.
them if it doesn't meet the criteria. Before, we had also said that we wanted this parking to be, I
stack,
think we were suggesting stacked parking.
Yeah.
Now, as we also know, they're trying to put a shed right here too. So that wouldn't work with their stacked parking, but we can mention it again anyways, because this is part of their landscape plan is the parking. Do we still want to comment on that? I actually don't really care about the parking.
yeah, I don't either.
Anybody care about the parking?
Well, I
Sure.
just think it's a shame that we're losing so much, just plain old landscaping around, everybody's maxing hardscaping out.
The only thing I
Well,
care
this-
about on that corner is that the garage isn't right up, or the shed isn't right up to the front of the house.
Mhm. And that's the other application. So, so we're commenting, the main thrust of our comment is that this still looks like a pool. And we're making sure that they check the criteria for it. I think that's all we can do.
Correct.
Is this a solid board fence? Does it say that anywhere? What is the fence? 1x6, 5-foot high board fence.
That would certainly screen it.
That sure does. Is that a little tall? I guess it's legal. I mean, we've
And it's
always limited
back.
it. to-
It's back.
It's back. I don't really care about the fence. Anybody care about the fence?
No,
All right, let's go on. 3 Westchester. Okay, this is. They want to replace a lot of windows. True divided lights. They're basically saying like kind substitution.
Do we have a date on the existing windows?
We don't, but somewhere the house is listed as 1930. Where did I see that? And that kind of looks like it probably is.
You just have your workout?
I don't know where it is, but I saw it somewhere, 1930.
yeah, it's,
I'll look one more time.
I just hate seeing old windows and old houses go away because you're not going to buy anything better.
No, I agree. And I was just basically putting that, first of all, we need a window survey showing the style and condition of existing windows. And the existing windows in this 1930 house do not appear to need replacement. They should be restored. This will cost less and they will last longer. Where did I see that? 1930. I know I saw it somewhere. It was on a different sheet.
Well, there just simply should be a date on the application.
Here it is, year built, 1930, right here. So it's an old
90.
house, and as far as we know, the windows are still the original windows. They have
Your
some
comments
molding
are
on top.
good.
Okay. All right, moving on. Okay, the other bird song. Anybody want to start on this one? Do we lose Brooke? Looks like we lost Brooke.
Which one? Which bird song? The 27B or the
This,
Lot A?
it's right, this, it's Lot A. So this is Brooks project we just did is right next to it, right on this property here. And this is the one next to it, which is really visible from, Angola and probably Candle House.
Well, and down the whole lane, this is what you look straight into, right?
Going up the hill,
Yeah.
it's a pretty steep uphill, but yeah, you're right. You're looking directly at it. Yeah. From below, yeah. So I got a number of relatively small. I thought the massing and the general overall design was fine. I didn't have any real comments about it, but mine were more of details. Do you want me to go ahead?
Please.
So the front elevation, I said the windows feel a little pinched together and they could be separated. It's probably just the shutters, but still, to me, there's space on the sides. They could be spread out a little bit more to make it more comfortable. Also, there's a lot of shingle space between the layers of windows, first and second floor. And it's probably because it's a 9-foot ceiling. And I think they can reduce that by at least 6 inches And that would pull these windows tighter together and lower the height of the house. And maybe even raise these windows, the first floor windows, up a little bit, but it's just a lot of space between the two layers of windows. The rear addition is coming right off the ridge. And here it is. That should be stepped down, and the plate is at the same height. That would be easy to do. And I don't think it will hurt their program any. And the screen porch, I don't mind the screen porch, but it's a little long. I think it just sticks out farther than it needs to. When you look at the floor plan, and it's a pretty big porch, even their furniture plan has extra space around it. So I think they could easily trim that back a few feet, several feet, without losing the ability to have the porch. Also, this thing right here on the side of the house, you see it on the front, but it's also on the north, right here. This is the fireplace. It's a gas fireplace probably, but it's a obvious fireplace box. And Brooke is joining us again. I just think it's a really awkward looking, it's a shed with no windows. It's just an awkward thing on the side of the building. There's room on the program, on the floor plan. They can pull this fireplace interior and that'll still work. There's lots of room around that space. And I think that was it, except I was wondering, maybe Brooke, you know the answer to this. On the window schedule, what are ADL windows?
Oh, authentic divided light is what it's supposed to mean. And
Same as TDLs?
yeah, I mean, it says Boston Sash, but ADL is usually a Marvin distinction. So I think that whoever is calling this out might be more familiar with Marvin in that respect, but it should say true divided light.
Yeah. All right.
And which is this one?
This is lot A. It's right next to you on Birdsong.
Okay.
Luke or Carrie, one of the two.
Yeah.
So those were my comments. Again, I wasn't too concerned about the massing and the general layout of the pieces. I just to quickly, Brooke, I said the too much space in the middle between the windows. Need to get rid of that by lowering the ceiling height maybe. This rear wing should be stepped down more, plate height should come down, and the porch sticks out further than it really should, maybe 3 or 4 feet cut back on the porch. So anybody else have comments on this one?
Yes.
Go ahead.
The application says the doors are Folger blue and the shutters are 2. That's a prominent spot. Do you think that's appropriate?
I think it would be nice actually to
Yeah.
see that up there, since everybody seems to be pushing for black and white and dark greens and whatnot. So it'll be nice to actually have something more cottagey like Folger blue up there.
Yeah, I might be okay with that too.
Okay.
I see what you're saying though.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just wanted to point it out. Also, the AC units need screening.
Yeah, where are they?
They're on this,
Right below you.
Yeah.
Scroll
Yeah.
down.
I appreciate that they're indicated on the application, but they should be screened.
Yep. Okay. Okay, anybody else?
Yes, in looking at this before, I had the same impression about the second floor windows on the facade. They could get longer, the roof could drop down, the lower windows, because it's a 9-foot ceiling, maybe the scale gets a little bit larger with the lower things, but there is a lot of shingle area. It looks awkward. It looks like they've sort of floated to the top. The secondary mass it's just, it's such a token setback. It really should be at least a few feet, and it's like a foot or
Right.
I don't know how
Right.
many inches. And then what that does is that it makes the side mudroom door compete with the front door. And so you've got two doors facing the turnaround circle. It's very prominent, and I think it's confusing. The front door trim, um, I don't know if there's more detail to that, but as shown, it looks like 1x6 with 1x8, and it's all flush with each other, which I don't think is appropriate. It needs some more detail.
Angus, I want to look again at what you said about the setback. This is a shed, one-story shed, and when you look at the side, see what I'm getting at here? The door that you're referring to is actually set back 5 or 6 feet, and this whole secondary mass is also set back. It's just the shed in front. That's
Yeah, it's just filling in too close to the facade there. I guess that's the kitchen.
yeah, it's the one-story shed part.
Yeah,
It doesn't really bother me. Anybody else on this one?
Nope.
I think I would like to see more of a setback, or maybe, I mean, if this was just a porch without the infill, I'd be fine with it. The infill does change to some degree, and it's only a foot back. But I'm not terribly concerned. I think the nature of this house looks like it's kind of a cottagey, it's an old house that became a little more cottagey because of the additions. And maybe the color of the shutters help that too, actually. So,
well, I mean, a porch is like,
I'll mention it.
8 feet, and if it's going to be a setback of 5 or 6 feet, that's one thing. But then filling it in up to no feet and having it 1 foot back from the facade, if it doesn't bother anybody else, don't add it in the comments. My only other thing is I agree about the not so disguised chimney mass or fireplace box that should either be sunken in or pull the chimney out or something, but just that blank face, I guess it would be on the north, which might be visible from Candle or somewhere.
Pergola, definitely.
I'm or Angola. I'm concerned about the relatively blank face that is, but then the that bump out that's clearly utilitarian use. That's all.
All right. Lucy,
Nope, I'm done.
Brooke,
I just have some small concerns. Like I agree about the shingle space, definitely. I agree that the front door should be a little bit more interesting. I'd like to see the windows on the left on the front pushed away so that they, even if it's a foot, it just seems very crowded and pinched on the front elevation, on that main elevation.
what I said earlier.
Okay,
yeah.
sorry. Yeah, while I was out.
Yeah.
I think that in terms of visibility, there probably is some visibility from Angola, but there's a big house there. And if you look at the locust map, it definitely occupies a fair amount of that view, cone of view. But no, I think this is a nice looking house, and I think it'll work in that neighborhood.
Okay, so I see what you're saying. This house is gonna block a bunch of the side view of this,
Yes,
but you'll still see it. You're looking up,
yeah. There's
You're
going to
looking
be
up
a
at it,
house,
right?
there's 2 lots on Angola Street.
right here.
There, yep, there's one, and then you go to the right and go straight down to 4.4. Drag your cursor,
4.4,
55 4.4-78. Go, that's another lot.
here.
Yes, there's one right next to 10 Angola, and then there's one on the corner of North Mill and Angola. And then there's one up high that is lot 26.
Wow.
Yeah, I can actually, if you guys have the time, I can show you the,
That's all right. This is gonna get filled in with houses, in other words.
yeah, that's all getting filled in. So whatever you
Yeah.
think you might see
Yep.
from Angola it's probably not going to be visible.
Okay.
You know, eventually it'll all grow in too.
Hmm. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. All right. Anything else, Brooke?
No,
Okey-doke. Um,
may I add something about One Wesco Place? And I texted it to Angus, but I got cut out. And that is that a building, you know, like this at, you know, this 1930s era, and I did this for 8 Wall Street. I think that a window survey is appropriate for this. And, you know, like kind doesn't always mean like kind when people apply.
mhm.
They're just saying it's going to look like it. But even if they say that, it doesn't always mean that. And I think that it would be nice to know what they mean by like kind. You know, the survey that I did for 8 Walsh was, I don't know how many pages long, like 20 pages long. There were a lot more windows, but I think that it would be helpful to know what's going in this place. I mean, I'm guessing that they're taking out weighted balance systems, you know, but are they putting in insulated glass and just because it's 6/6, calling it like kind, or are they putting in true divided lights, but a different, you know, a more modern.
Oh, shoot, I think we lost him.
Yeah. I've got you guys. I don't have Brooke. I don't think I have Lucy either.
Lucy's frozen.
Yeah. And Brooks, just us, Angus. Okay. Well, I get Brooks' point. Do you see the detail here, Angus? Can you see this picture?
Yeah,
Do you see this, like the screw heads
yep,
and and this, you know, the interior stop, which you'd probably remove to pull the sash?
right.
To me, that tells me it's a sash weighted window. Does that make sense to you?
Everything that I'm looking at tells me it's an original window.
Yeah. And even the definition of this parting bead between the two sash, do you see where'd that go? Yeah, right. And you just get a glimpse of that. That's often on a sash weighted window, right?
I'm back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Brooke, we're just looking at this detail of this window that you see from the outside. To me, it looks like a sash weighted window.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay.
And all I
Okay.
was saying is that it just needs a window survey and what specifically is happening. And I don't think that's too onerous, especially in something like this. But saying like kind, I think just creates too much of a too much room.
Well, they're,
That's a very good point.
yeah, and they're saying, I don't even say what kind of window is it. It is, do they?
Yeah.
They're just saying true divided lights.
Brooke, your point is there isn't a like kind of this original 1930s double.
That is my
weighted
point.
There's not even a window scheduled to identify the type of window.
It does say, I did notice on the application, they had checked true divided light, so,
You're divided lights, but not a manufacturer.
right. I think it just helps. I mean, I'm not trying to push Green Mountain. It could be Boston Sash, it could be a custom deal, whatever, I don't care. But I just feel like these applications, I think they just need just a little bit more information.
Well, actually, a lot more information. Okay. Good. All right, so we were on birdsong. I think we're done with that one too.
Yeah,
So the next one, the last one, I think is 134 Main, which we've looked at before. I don't even know what's different about this application than the previous ones. Anybody remember this one very well?
I remember, but is it clouded? I mean, what does it say on the application?
Revised side
Revised.
yard to accommodate parking.
Just didn't we do that before too? Thought we did. I just don't know what was approved previously.
Can we have this back
Maybe
with
it never was a-
representation?
Yeah, we can ask for it. We should comment on it anyway, though.
Well,
And,
what are we
you know,
commenting on?
well, whatever we're presented with, which is this plan right here. And to me, it looks like they're going too deep. You know, they're obviously stacking two cars, but it's 14 feet wide. And
Yeah,
I don't really think comfortably fit two cars wide in 14 feet. So, you know, they don't need a driveway of that width. I think they can make this quite a bit narrower and still be able to park two cars, one in front of the other. And
but
that
they
would,
could put a planting bed, you know, along the house or something.
yeah, they could do almost anything else, but it's a lot of brick and a lot of cobblestone. It's a big fat driveway. And I think it's too much.
they've got an awful lot of hardscaping here. It'd be nice to have some more landscaping.
Mhm. Or green.
Yeah, green, something.
You know, I
Yeah.
think that this was approved. I think the width was approved.
Yeah, I don't know what they're actually applying for.
Yeah, it looks like they're changing the center from something to cobblestone.
That could be it.
I think it was all brick and they might have added cobblestone.
I think our comment before was it was too much brick.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, that's what we're gonna say again. Too much brick. Driveways wider than necessary for one car width, reducing width. All right. Anything else in this?
Nope.
All right. I think we're done with the agenda.
I'll make a motion to accept the comments.
All right, but I'm gonna ask Lucy to do that.
Oh, sorry.
Make a motion to accept the comments.
And Angus is gonna
Second,
second that. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Lucy, Brooke, and Angus?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. And then motion to adjourn.
Yes,
second,
Second, all those in favor?
Yes.
Lucy, Brooke,
aye.
Angus. Aye. All done. Thanks,
All right.
guys.
Thanks,
Thank
Megan.
you.
Sure. See you later.
Aye.